In the vast expanse of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire stood as a ruthless behemoth, its reign stretching over countless star systems. The Empire's power was unmatched, its cruelty legendary. But even the most fearsome of empires make mistakes, errors that can shatter the very foundation of their rule. The women of Earth were not immune to the Empire's cold, calculating cruelty. When they were captured and executed publicly, hanged in front of millions of imperial subjects, it was not just an act of violence, but a declaration of dominance, a message to all the lesser species of the galaxy: the Empire is untouchable. But this time, the Empire had underestimated something crucial, something they could never comprehend. Humanity. The death of those women, innocent in their own right, struck a chord deep within the hearts of every human across the galaxy. It wasn't just a matter of justice or vengeance, it was the awakening of an undeniable force, the power of human resolve. The first whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire through Earth's networks, fueled by the voices of the grieving, the angered, and those who refused to bow down to the alien tyrants. The very essence of humanity, resilience, defiance, and unyielding determination, began to stir. And the Galactic Empire, blinded by its own hubris, failed to recognize the storm brewing in the hearts of billions. From every corner of Earth, every nation and every culture, came a unified call: no more. It was in the shadow of those executions that humanity's most dangerous weapon was born, a collective fury unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Every human, from the lowest laborer to the highest scientist, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, began to prepare for a war that would engulf the Empire and rewrite the destiny of the galaxy. The war for revenge had begun. The first signs of humanity's growing fury came in the form of disjointed messages, encrypted and scattered across the vastness of space. At first, the Galactic Empire dismissed them as the empty threats of a species too weak to ever pose a real challenge. But as more and more messages surfaced, encoded in every language on Earth, each one a pledge of defiance, the Empire began to realize something they had overlooked: humanity was not afraid. With the death of the women, humanity had united in a way the Empire had never seen. Political divisions, religious differences, and historical animosities vanished overnight. Every human felt the sting of those executions, and now they had a singular purpose: to destroy the Empire. Across Earth, the military-industrial complex mobilized. Scientists and engineers, many of them once in the service of the Empire, began to reverse-engineer alien technology that had been stolen from the Empire during the last few skirmishes. Their goal was clear: build weapons that could rival anything the Empire had ever seen. Meanwhile, the military leaders of Earth, once divided in their approaches to intergalactic diplomacy, now sat together in an unprecedented alliance. The conversation that unfolded in the war rooms of Earth was not one of compromise or diplomacy. It was a conversation of war. "We will hit them where it hurts," General Armitage, the newly appointed Supreme Commander, said. "We strike at their heart, their core systems. We take their capital world. And we do it with a speed and ferocity that will leave them no time to react." The war would not be fought in the traditional sense. The humans would use their knowledge of the galaxy's political landscape to their advantage. By now, many alien species were growing tired of the Empire's authoritarian rule, and some had already pledged covert support for the humans. Humanity's greatest strength lay not just in its military might, but in its ability to unite diverse forces with a common goal, something the Empire could never understand. Within weeks, Earth's fleet of ships began to expand beyond the familiar confines of their home world. Space stations were converted into massive shipyards, churning out human-designed warships capable of withstanding even the most brutal attacks the Empire could muster. These ships were different. They were designed not just for war, but for conquest. And then came the bombshell. The humans had built their own weapon of mass destruction, one that could wipe out entire fleets in a single blow. A weapon the Empire would not see coming. The first test of this weapon was a success, but it would only be used when the time was right. They would need to find the heart of the Empire first, the point of vulnerability that would shatter it completely. As Earth's forces readied for their first strike against the Empire, something strange began to happen. Even some of the Empire's own soldiers, those stationed on outer colonies, began to defect. Messages, smuggled out and passed from one disillusioned soldier to the next, spoke of humanity's unwavering spirit, their hunger for vengeance. The rebellion was no longer just a human cause, it was a galactic cause. In the Imperial War Council, a sense of unease began to settle in. High-ranking officials, once confident that the human threat was a passing nuisance, now found themselves questioning the Empire's ability to maintain control. Even the Emperor, who had been the very face of imperial dominance, could feel the shift. His intelligence network, long thought impenetrable, was now compromised. Something was amiss, and it was growing stronger by the day. The Empire could not have foreseen this level of resistance. Humanity, with its sheer force of will, was about to change the fate of the galaxy forever. The first human strike came without warning. A small, remote outpost on the edge of Imperial space, known as Narthak Station, was chosen as the testing ground. It was a heavily fortified location, with orbital cannons, cruiser patrols, and over 50,000 Empire troops stationed there. The Empire believed it to be untouchable. They were wrong. In a coordinated assault that took less than 4 minutes, humanity revealed its true capabilities. A fleet of cloaked human warships appeared out of the void, bypassing Imperial sensors entirely. The Empire's defense systems didn't even register them until it was too late. Advanced railgun salvos, kinetic orbital strikes, and AI-guided torpedoes rained hell upon the station. The Empire's ships scrambled, but they were annihilated before their weapon systems could lock on. The new human-designed ships moved with unnatural precision, swift, brutal, and cold. Their hulls bore the names of Earth's Lost, Catherine 9, Mother's Cry, Vengeance of Eden. Each ship was a memorial and a promise. By the end of the assault, Narthak Station had ceased to exist. But humanity didn't stop there. Over the following weeks, strike after strike followed. Earth's fleet moved like a storm, dismantling Empire-controlled outposts, mining colonies, and communication relays. Entire sectors went dark. Human special operations teams infiltrated the Empire's core systems, sabotaging infrastructure and liberating enslaved species. In each liberated world, a single banner was left behind, a black flag with a burning red streak across it, the symbol of humanity's wrath. The message was spreading. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Empire was on the defensive. Within the Imperial Court, panic had begun to replace arrogance. Systems once considered vital to the economy were crumbling. Border sectors were in open revolt. And worse, no one knew where the humans would strike next. Their tactics were unpredictable, their technology advancing faster than the Empire could adapt. And their spirit, unbreakable. The Emperor himself, Lord Zelner VII, summoned his war council. "They are vermin," he spat, his voice trembling with rage. "They are nothing. We broke their worlds, crushed their colonies. We executed their women to remind them of their place. And now they dare rise against us." General Vale, the supreme commander of the Imperial Armada, stood in silence. He had seen the reports. He had lost ships. Entire fleets, wiped out by human ingenuity and hatred. "My lord," Vale said slowly, "it is not just their weapons. It is what drives them. The executions, the women. You created something we do not understand." "And what is that?" Vale paused. "A united humanity." Across space, the human fleet launched its boldest move yet, a direct attack on a core world, something previously thought impossible. The planet Varela, home to one of the Empire's largest shipyards, fell under siege. The orbital battle lasted for 16 hours. Thousands of ships collided in a ballet of death and fire. Human ships, though fewer in number, were surgical in their destruction. They didn't waste a single shot. Every torpedo, every strike was deliberate, vengeance given form. On the ground, human marines stormed the capital. They didn't just kill, they recorded everything. The faces of the oppressors. The desperation in their eyes. The panic of a species that had never before felt vulnerable. Then, in the town square of Varela Prime, humans hanged 30 Imperial officers. The same way the Empire had hanged the women of Earth. No words. No speeches. Only justice. The video went viral across the Empire. Broadcasts showed the still forms swinging in the alien wind, and beneath them, a plaque that read, "You hanged our women, we hanged your monsters." The tide of war had changed. Not just through military victories, but through fear. The galaxy now knew, humanity would not be broken. They would not be silenced. They would not stop. And they were coming for the throne. The Galactic Empire's throne world, Xerxes Prime, had never known war. It was a planet of opulence, high towers of crystalline glass, floating palaces, and gravity-defying architecture. It was the jewel of the Empire, the center of its power, the heart of its pride, and now it was in humanity's crosshairs. Earth's fleet had grown monstrous. No longer a ragtag rebellion, it had become the largest military force ever assembled by a single species. Behind it trailed ships built in secret shipyards hidden in asteroid belts, on hollowed-out moons, and inside black hole event horizons. AI captains coordinated tactics across light years. Human minds, sharpened by loss and vengeance, operated at the edge of genius and madness. The final assault began without ceremony. The human fleet emerged from subspace like a cosmic tsunami. Xerxes Prime's defenses activated instantly. Planetary shields, defense rings, and orbital cannons the size of cities roared to life. But it was too late. The humans had brought the scourge, a weapon forged not just from science, but from pain. It wasn't designed to destroy the planet, but to strip it bare of its protections in seconds. 1,000,000 drones, each carrying a fusion core, blanketed the sky and detonated in perfect sync. The shield shattered like glass. Human warships descended like vultures, carving through the last lines of Imperial defense. On the surface, panic reigned. The Emperor was evacuated to his citadel, guarded by his most elite troops. Civilians ran through the streets as explosions echoed through the atmosphere. Fire rained from the skies. Statues of old conquests crumbled under railgun strikes. Monuments built to honor genocide fell under the boot of human marines. Then came the ground troops. They weren't armored like traditional soldiers. They wore lean exosuits with reactive plating, built for agility and precision. They were ghosts in the rubble, appearing, killing, disappearing again. Entire squads moved like living shadows. Operation Widowmaker, humanity's final plan, was executed flawlessly. Special forces infiltrated the Emperor's citadel. Breaching charges blew open titanium walls. The Emperor's guards fought valiantly, but they were not fighting rebels anymore. They were fighting an idea made of rage and unity, made of mothers who buried daughters, of fathers who cried in silence, of people who had nothing left to lose. The Emperor was dragged from his throne room, bloodied and disarmed. He looked up at the human soldiers standing over him, their eyes glowing with HUD displays and fury. "You are animals," he spat, blood trickling from his mouth. "We gave you the stars. And you repay us with this." The lead soldier removed his helmet. Her name was Commander Alina Reyes, sister of one of the hanged women. "No," she said. "We didn't repay you. We survived you." She pulled the trigger. The war was over. In the aftermath, humanity did not claim the throne. They dismantled the empire piece by piece. They freed every enslaved species, returned every looted treasure, burned every record of oppression. The galaxy watched in awe as the ones thought to be primitive redefined what power meant. A galactic council was formed, not led by humans, but founded by them. Earth took a seat, not as conquerors, but as guardians. But even then, Earth's warning remained. On every liberated world, at every galactic port, in every language, the same message was etched into stone. Never again, we are humanity, we forgive slowly, we forget nothing,